Good day! Today I'm going to talk about some myths and legends from a mysterious land called Australia. But before that, I'm going to talk about the native people. So, the Aboriginal Aussies are responsible of the myths and legends that are in the country. They are one of the world's oldest civilizations with nearly 60,000 years of existence. Their ancestors came from Africa and Asia, and they lived isolated of war until the British colonization in 1788. The native people have a lot of traditions that still persist during the years. One of these ceremonies is corroboree ceremony, that consists in dance and sing the stories about the dreaming. The dreaming is a mythological period conceived by the Aboriginals to tell where the nature was created and formed by actions of mythic beings. So the mythic beings in many cultures want to represent a reason of an event or a normal behavior caused by them. In the Aussie traditions, the gods send these creatures to the natives to pack death or to be afraid of them. These are some of the most relevant myths in Australian culture. So the first myth I'm going to abort is the rainbow serpent. This creature is an immortal being and creating god from the dreaming. The story began with the word flat and cold. She slumbered under the ground with all the animals in her stomach. When the time came, she awoke and threw up the animals. So, the connection between the snake and the rainbow suggests the cycle of seasons of water in human life. When a rainbow is seen in the sky, is this supposed to be the rainbow serpent traveling from one waterhole to another waterhole? That's also an explanation of the natives to some waterholes that never dry up when it's drought. There are many art represents of the rainbow serpent, like this one that is located on Mount Boradalai at the Arnhem Land. This paint has 6 meters long, it's made with ochre painting, and is created nearly 8,000 years ago. The Aussies named this painting a burga. So, the rainbow serpent is a very common myth in Australia, has a significant role in the beliefs and cultures of the Aboriginals. Also is associated with ceremonies about fertility and abundance of food through propagation of plants and animals. But in times of anger or rage, it causes storms and floods. The second myth that we are gonna talk is about the Yowie. The first contact with this creature started with the arrival of the first European fleet in 1788. The Aborigines warned British about the queer birds, but the earliest encounter talked about a man that was returning to his settlement when suddenly in the trees he saw a person the twice height of an ordinary man. That is how the legend of the Yowie started. So the Yowie is the Australian version of Bigfoot or the Yeti. They were described as the flat conch with white nostrils and thick eyebrows. Their mouths were of prodigious width with prominent jaws. The name Yowies means hairy people. The historical record refers 2 types of Yowies in Australia. The first one is the Gigantopithecus, that is the larger species. It says that can grow between 6 and 10 feet tall. The creature is described as a huge hair-covered ape-like man and is similar to the Sasquatch of North America. The other species is described to being smaller, between 4 and 5 feet tall. While most people are skeptical of the account, some believe it is an ancient species of missing link that is avoid extinction. There is also a statue of this creature at Yowie Park in Kilcoy. So, the third one is the Bunjip. In the dreaming stories of creation, they were full of fantastic and magical beasts. The Bunjip was one of them. In the dreaming, the Bunjip was an spirit which inhabited lakes and swamps. At night, the tale says that goes and prey upon women and children. To the Aborigines, the Bunjip was a beast of many different shapes and sizes. Some were covered in feathers, and some even have scales like crocodiles. Also, some people say that have a human figure with the same characteristics. So, the legend says that in the dreaming, a man named Bunjip once broke the rainbow serpent's great slough by eating his totem animal. After that, He was banished and transformed into an evil spirit that lured tribesmen and their animals into the water to eat. That's one of the versions of the origin of the creature. Over the years, fossils have been uncovered that could be associated with the bungee. There were remains of unknown animals discovered in 1818, and also in 1830 there were unidentified fossils found in the Wellington Caves that were much larger than the buffalo. And the last myth that I'm going to talk is the Wodjina stele. The myth is about some paintings in a cave in the Kimberley region of Western Australia that date back at least 18,000 years ago. So the spirits are depicted alone or in groups, with the face white, big black eyes without a mouth, and are sometimes depicted with figures and objects like the rainbow serpent. So modern Aboriginals believe that was painted by the Wodjina people. The dreaming story says that the Wodjina created the landscape and its inhabitants, and continue to have influence over both. When the spirits found a place they would die, they painted their images on cave walls and gone to the below in a waterhole. So the Wodjina style have a lot of significance. For example, it can represent climatic features. An example is that the eyes of the Wodjina can represent thunderstorms, and even the line between the eyes resemble a nose, but is actually a powered line which is used to transfer energy. So there are many theories about the Wodjina people. Some people think that the Wodjina comes from the heaven and they return to the heaven also. So some nights they can be seen as moving lights on the earth. So in other words, it can be aliens. Speculation is to put the head in the sand and be open to make our own conclusions. There are some of the myths that are relevant to understand the mythology and the traditions that are in Australia culture. Many of them are connected with other myths to represent another event, but for me, this is the end of the road. So thanks and see you!